Yep, finally doing this after nearly 2 years of not doing it when I said I would. I made a video in December of 2020 going over my history with Megaman Zero 3, my favorite game in the franchise. No, I'll be bold enough to proclaim that it's my favorite game ever. But in that one, I expressed a desire to dedicate an entire video reminiscing over my history with the entire franchise, how I got into it, the persistence of the game's presence in all steps of my life, what encouraged me to get better at them, and how much of a role Mega Man has played in my growth as a person. To many, that sounds like an exaggeration and that I'm a nut job. Like, how can video games do that? Of all things. A game can't do that, you might think. Well, my job here today isn't to convince you of any of that. I'm just here to share something dear to me and perhaps inspire you to reflect on things that are dear to you and how they shaped you. I could care less about any external opinions on this sort of thing because it's a deeply personal experience, and I'd be naive to expect every person to understand that to the fullest capacity. So yeah, fair warning. Close the video if you don't care to hear my story. There's nothing crazy in here with advanced tech discussions or anything like that. If this isn't what you clicked for, then that's fine and valid. I understand. Have a nice rest of your day. But yeah, for those who are interested in story time, grab your favorite snack, chill out, or keep this baby rolling in the background because, boy, Brother Magnus has a tale to tell. A tale riddled with challenges, struggle, and heartbreak. A journey of tumult that shakes the foundation of your core, filled with hardships that'll break any sane man halfway. A struggle of ascension towards unparalleled greatness that... Calm down, it ain't that glamorous. My memory's fuzzy with the beginning of the timeline, but given that Mega Man 8 was released in December 1996 and Mega Man X launched in August 1997, it's safe to assume that my Mega Man journey began somewhere between 98 and 99, when I was 6 and 7 years old respectively. The only video game console I owned at the time was a discounted compact version of the Sega Genesis. I loved that thing though. Genesis will forever be one of my favorite retro consoles, especially with games like Shining Force and Sonic on it, but when I'd see my two older brothers playing bangers on other consoles like Mario and Mega Man, I kinda wanted some of that too. I was captivated by Mega Man 8 in particular as I watched my brother from afar playing it on several occasions. I'm not sure if it was the vibrant colors of the game or the cartoony art style, but watching Mega Man gameplay was a magical spectacle to behold to my 6-year-old brain, or 7-year-old. I don't know, man. I felt this rush of excitement watching Rock jump, shoot, and slide through levels, and I wasn't even playing the game yet. It looked so fun. It was akin to love at first sight. Okay, that's a bit much, but anyway, unfortunately, my brothers did not like my presence for a myriad of reasons that I won't delve into, but let's just simplify this and say that they just didn't like me. I was an annoying little bastard, but I was just your typical baby bro wanting to be included in all of the fun and games, but unfortunately, I was ignored for the majority of the time when I wanted to play with them. They'd eventually cave and let me play the Mega Man games they had, though it didn't dawn on me until I was older that they only did that because of the new PS2's release. Yes, I am fucking old. And they didn't care about the PS1 anymore, and any of their favorites could be played on the backwards compatible new system, so Mega Man 8 and Mega Man X4 were just hand-me-downs with their old PS1. Give the old junk to the annoying little bro so he can leave us the hell alone was probably their mentality. Me, on the other hand, I just didn't give a shit at the time. I was finally playing Mega Man. I didn't care how I got it. I finally had two of the most anticipated games at the time in my grasp. I started with Mega Man 8, and hold up, I know what you're thinking. Mega Man 8, Magnus. That garbage? Really? Well, yes, really, viewer. I like it. Unapologetically so, thank you very much. Look, let's just forget about the cheesy voice acting. That dead horse's skeleton has been beaten and memed so hard that it's seriously not even funny anymore. At the time of my childhood, I couldn't even distinguish between good and bad voice acting anyway. Not like it mattered because it was the gameplay that hooked me, not the other elements. Just the raw feeling of experiencing the game firsthand, learning the controls, and admittedly just mimicking things via watching my brother's gameplay sessions, and soaking in the vibrant and fun atmosphere of the game was enough for me to appreciate it for what it was. The music, oh sweet Jesus, Allah Buddha, God, the music. It was the beginning of my love for video game soundtracks as a whole. Mega Man 8 music is so nostalgic to me. Then X4 just blew me completely out of the water, man. Yeah, f*** the voice acting, but Lord have mercy. Everything else was a sudden yet stellar jump from slower and calculating gameplay of the classic style. The fast-paced nature of X4 compared to 8 was something that I initially wasn't prepared for, but once I got used to it, I was mad that I didn't even play X4 first. I alternated between the two games consistently and found myself hardly, if ever, touching my Genesis. Nowadays, the average gameplay experience revolves around just jumping right into the next game after you've completed one. But as someone who grew up in the 90s, in a middle-class household with parents who had 4 mouths to feed, getting new games were reserved for special occasions and the holiday season. So I had to make the most out of the few games I had in my possession. But when it came to a new game, you bet your sweet ass that any new Mega Man game was the goal. I eventually learned about X5 and got it along with Legends 1 as a Christmas gift. I loved X5 at the time. Legends though, oh my god, I played the shit out of that game. So much so that the disc gave out on me and just gave me the middle finger and refused to play anymore. Though back then I was pretty careless with disc because I didn't know what I was doing, so that thing got scratched to oblivion. It took a few years to finally get X6, but before that, I wanted to play all of the classic NX games I missed. And well, let's just say I had to do a bit of the yo-ho-hoing on that family PC, if you know what I'm saying. I could go on and on about the acquisition of these games, but as time went on, I became a bona fide Mega Man fan without actually realizing it. The amount of hoops that I went through to acquire certain games that were hard to find was insane. I literally only wanted a Game Boy so I could play the Zero and Battle Network series. ZX was another Christmas gift along with a new DS. I did everything I could to get them. What made you cling to these games so much, you might be asking me? And that's a valid question considering my chances to get new games weren't as frequent, and there were other franchises to play. Well, to answer that question, let's first get to the fun part. The part where I tell you how these games beat the shit out of me. To anyone not well experienced in platformers, let's just say that any Mega Man game can be stupidly hard to a newcomer on the first go around because of the trial and error and memorization nature of it. And as a kid with a steadily developing brain, Mega Man challenged me hard. Seeing games with such a high skill ceiling despite their simplistic design was an interesting anomaly to me, and I craved more. It helped that X4 and Mega Man 8 were pretty beginner friendly games because every other game after those messed me up. I wanted to beat them so bad because Mega Man was so fun. And I just didn't want to feel like a failure either, because as I was growing older, life outside the games was less exciting in comparison. I was subject to bullying, belittling, and neglect from peers, even from my siblings when it came to the latter two that I just listed. When you were constantly being treated like a worthless, slow idiot like I was throughout my school years, it damages your self-esteem. Hell, I had to mostly hide the fact that I liked Mega Man or any other non-popular game back then because I'd get judged harshly for it. You know, if I wasn't already being judged for being a gamer in general. Gaming wasn't as socially accepted back then as it is now. I was just a little black, mildly autistic boy, presumed autistic that is, trying to find his way. I didn't have many friends and I primarily hung out with myself. Self-containing myself in the sanctuary of my own room with my video games and action figures because those were all I had to turn to for solace. I love my parents. I owe everything to them. But the type of things that I was going through were heavy subject matter that I knew that they wouldn't understand, so I just didn't bother them with any of it. My sources of entertainment, compounded with the endless well that was my imagination, were what kept me whole when I wanted to break into millions of pieces. I refused to let anything else beat me down, not even a damn game. That persistence pushed me to keep trying at Mega Man because it not only kept my mind occupied from the darker, self-destructive thoughts that lived in there rent-free, but I wanted to prove that I was good at something. Mega Man games taught me how to never give up, better than any person with shallow delivery ever could. It saved me in more ways than one. The better I fundamentally grew at the games, the more I latched onto them and sought out more of them as they were released. Granted, I had moments here and there where I burned out and enjoyed other games as I took extended breaks. Mega Man isn't the only thing that I played during those times. I'm a massive fan of the tactical RPG genre, like Shining Force and Fire Emblem. Regular action RPGs like the Tales series, God, I love me some Tales of the Abyss and Symphonia, Devil May Cry, and Streets of Rage. Oh my fucking god. All of those games and many more hold special places in my heart as well for different reasons, and they also helped in my growth. But this is a Mega Man video, and Mega Man is the closest to my heart over all of the other games. There was something strangely therapeutic about just turning on a Mega Man game, no matter which one it was, when I was feeling down or going through a tumultuous time in my life. It was calming, almost like playing it helped unclog my backed up mind, just as meditation does. When I ended a very close relationship I had with someone back in 2017, those were some of the darkest consecutive moments in my life. But a quick game of Mega Man was always there to cheer me up, to piece me back together, to screw my head back on straight, to let me know that I should never stop pursuing happiness, success with my goals and aspirations, and much more. Getting better at the games to the level I'm sitting at now was just a fortunate side effect of keeping them close to me throughout all of these years of trudging through this ugly world. I did many self-imposed challenges in the games off record just to see how far I could push myself in something, to test if I could achieve a great result in anything if I tried hard enough. I mentioned this in my Mega Man Zero 3 video, but when you get code names like Hero or Legend, it just made me feel good about myself in the darker moments of my life where I had the lowest opinion of myself. It's not an exaggeration when I say that Mega Man helped contribute to the person that I am today, and saved me from being someone I might have hated, assuming the stress wouldn't have caused me to have certain thoughts, if you know what I mean. Hard work, patience, calmness, open-mindedness, and persistence are all things a disadvantaged person like myself was required to foster if I wanted to accomplish anything in my life. I can safely say that just playing those games, absorbing their stories and characters, and consistently challenging myself in them in my spare time aided in developing those traits. I'm not even talking about just Mega Man either. I'm also talking about the games I listed earlier. Mega Man might not do that for you, but it did for me. No matter what it is that inspires you, cherish it. The society of this contaminated blue rock we live on won't ever stop rotting to the core, but we don't have to rot with it. Acknowledge the good things we still have and learn from them. Always refuse to give up when it counts. Aspire to do something meaningful in your life, not for others but for yourself. And hey, if you're ever feeling down and can't receive help from anyone, engross yourself in your favorite hobby. It might just help unclog your mind when you need it. It's probably right around the time for me to take another step back, give all the work a break and recharge my batteries. I've been going through another rough patch lately in my life and finding it increasingly difficult each day to focus on videos. That's a good enough sign as any to stop and rest, reflect on things, and come back when the time's ripe. You don't need to hear about my woes, so all you need to know is that I'll be gone for a while after this video. Well, at least when it comes to commentated high effort stuff. This dumb website punishes you for taking breaks and doesn't show your new videos to your subscribers if you stop posting, so I'll upload the occasional shitpost or quickie to let the systems know that I'm not dead. I could literally do low effort stuff like that in my sleep. You can also check out my playlist page. I have quite literally a bloated library of older challenge runs that I'm sure haven't been seen by most of my audience. I get asked a lot to run this and run that, and lots of the time it's a run I've already done. Those can keep you occupied until my inevitable return. I don't feel right asking people for things, so the only thing I could ask for and appreciate is if you watch my videos. That helps me more than anything else. But that's it for now. Thanks for listening to my story, and I especially thank you all for the viewership and support. I'm looking forward to seeing you all again after I'm recharged and ready to style to the max again. Stay chill.